On this episode, we are having a Black Friday special today. President and CEO of Quality Ag Services, Joe Sinclair, joins us today talking about the chemical rebate programs for branded and post-patent chemicals.
Hi, this is Joe Mershman. Welcome to Cup of Joe, episode number 18, season 2. Today we have two of our regulars plus a special speaker, Tommy and Turk, and we have Joe Sinclair from Quality Ag at Melrose, Iowa. We're going to start with Joe. Joe has a very extensive background in the post-patent chemistry area. So, Joe, I'll just let you introduce yourself and what you do, and let's talk about herbicides.
Well, first of all, thanks, Joe and Tommy and Turk, very much for having me here for this Black Friday special of the Cup of Joe. I got my Cup of Joe here with me. My background is in chemistry. I grew up on a swine and beef farm in southern Iowa, Melrose, and I live a quarter mile north of the family farm that I grew up on to this day. But after 4 years at Iowa State, I needed to make some money, and I went to work for Dow Chemical, did that for 11 years, and have had a great run with Quality Ag Service since 1998, and we have a national footprint for post-patent chemistries in a lot of different crops, and it's very rewarding to be able to help growers get lower cost, higher value solutions through post-patent chemistries.
That's great. So what's going on right now in post-patent and then as compared to the branded material? I mean, if farmers are out there looking for ways to keep costs under control, what are other options this year?
Well, that's a great word, options, Joe. And the growers do have options, and there are some fabulous branded options also. Wouldn't ever throw that great company that you guys helped develop the Enlist trait and the Enlist herbicide with under the bus. Corteva has done a great job with their portfolio, and Enlist is a big, Enlist One and Enlist Duo are both a huge part of what we're going to have going forward. But on the post-patent side, it gives growers choices, and it helps on economics. You know, if it weren't for the generics, there would be a lot higher prices at the farm gate.
For a year that farmers are really looking into return on their investment and keeping costs down, this is definitely an option that should really open their eyes to boost that ROI.
Absolutely. And with regards to chemicals, we're really not buying chemicals. We're buying solutions. You know, we're trying to control a fungus, or we're trying to make a weed not compete with the crop that we're going to harvest. Insects can be devastating to a crop. So we're looking for solutions to pest problems. And the number one thing that we need to do is use them safely and effectively.
Right.
And everybody that's watching this podcast probably has a very good dealer that they're buying their crop protection products from, or a field agent for an extension service that is going to be able to help them with anything new that they haven't seen before, or anything new that's coming out, either combinations of products or products that it's been discovered are effective on other things.
Well, who are the players in post-patent herbicide solutions and insecticides?
Well, I think Turk's going to talk about it in a little bit, but the biggest post-patent company right now is a company called United Phosphorus Limited, UPL. They're the 5th largest crop protection chemical company in the world, and we've got an exciting tie-in with the Enlist E3 soybeans and GT27s with their company.
Yeah, that brings us to the rebates, and it is, like I say, a Black Friday special. So what we want to do is make sure our customers know about all the different programs that chemical companies are putting out there to entice them to use their products. And since we're talking about UPL, United Phosphorus Limited, Turk, what is their program?
Well, they have a program that is basically if you use Enlist soybeans or LLGT27 soybeans, they have a rebate offer for a combination of their products to be used with Interline, which is the generic or the the post-patent product for
Liberty.
Glufosinate. So, but that product, is very, very effective. We've seen it many times and works great. And so they have a product out or a program out that works very, very well for our customers. Because there's great competition not only in the seed market but in the chemical market as well. And Joe brings a very good point that if it wasn't for the competition that MS Technologies provided with the new traits in the marketplace, everybody would be paying higher price soybean for their soybean seed, and just like in soybeans, the UPL has provided a post-patent market that has brought everybody's chemical or herbicide program prices down as well. Enlist or Corteva has a program that they're working on or that they have available by using a combination of their products, and you can get a $2 per acre back with them, and then BASF also has a program that if you combine, every time you combine another one of their products, you get another 50 cents, and I think that's up to $4, but it'd be pretty tough to get that $4 in my opinion. But there's programs out there, I guess is what I'm saying, and so I know everybody's trying to figure out where they can cut costs without giving up performance, and the herbicide. The post-patent herbicide market is one place they can do that. Enlist soybeans and LLGT27 is another way that they can do it on the seed.
Yeah, the seed costs are down, and these programs here, we'll post them up on this site here today, so you can look at them in detail and print them out. But like I say, being an informed farmer and being an informed buyer, and on Black Friday, and there's a lot of decisions on chemicals that are going to be made in the next 30 days, and a lot of products are bought. Make sure you know what you're getting up front and what you potentially can get on the backside from these companies.
Joe, I have a question for you as far as, we've seen the price of certain soybean traits come down considerably. I mean, especially if you think about Extend soybeans, at least $10 difference, maybe even 15 to 20 from last year's prices. Have you seen that with the chemical side of things as far as prices coming down? Or I know you've always had a pretty good deal with your post-patent products, and especially with your John Deere financial program that you have now. That's huge. But what are you seeing as far as those prices?
It's kind of by molecule. Some molecules have been impacted from disruptions in the supply due to either tariffs in China, or there was a factory in China that had a huge explosion. Hundreds of people were killed in the explosion, and it leveled an area larger than the size of West Point here.
Wow.
So some of the things are higher, but I will tell you this, we're talking about Interline from UPL, that's one that has gotten very, very streamlined in their production, and prices for Liberty and Interline will be significantly lower in 2020 than they were in 2019.
So that will impact the farmer that uses LibertyLink GT27 or Enlist E3. I mean, they'll have an advantage there of a lower cost system compared to what they had last year in the same system.
Absolutely, and it is actually getting to a competitive price point where growers in the South that need to do a burn down are going to be looking at either paraquat or glufosinate because the price points have come together. And Interline is one of those with talking about Black Friday, with a qualifying purchase of Mershman E3 soybeans or GT27s, growers can get a 0% financing on their generic chemicals, which would include Interline from UPL.
And they can also get a 0% financing on their soybeans from us.
From Mershman's, yeah.
Yeah.
So if cash flow's tight, you got some options, and not only are you normally you pay more for some options like that, and this shows you how aggressive companies are getting to get the farmer's business.
Absolutely, and if I was a grower today, and there's a few things up in the air with some of the farms that are in a lot of neighborhoods, I don't think there'd be anything wrong with freeing some working capital up to potentially rent the farm next door, use your working capital to take care of your labor, and your fuel and your equipment and finance your seed and chemical.
It's a time to help cash flow, especially, and that's, I think both companies are really trying to help the farmer with that. And what's interesting is I had some growers that kind of put traded glufosinate versus post-patent glufosinate interline, so Liberty interline against each other, and they I've had some large growers that kind of prefer the formulation of interline versus the other. And can you kind of explain a little bit on what you're seeing as successes, like you talked about with interline versus the traded product?
I would say this about all chemistries. Formulations can have a little bit of differences,
Right.
but if you drink water at West Point, it'll quench your thirst. And you could go to Albia, where Quality Ag's office is, and it might taste a little bit different.
Sure.
But it's still water that's going to quench your thirst. It's the same thing with chemicals. They're the same molecules. They do the same thing. There might be a little bit of
Sure.
difference in the taste to the plant,
Yep.
so to speak. But
That's a good way to put it.
if one works, they all work.
Yeah, and talking about the BSF, I know they have a respray program on their branded Liberty, so everything's got to be taken into consideration. When depending upon what level of comfort a farmer has. If you can get that product sprayed, kill those weeds on time. You're going to have a dead weed's a dead weed. You don't need a respray program. But if you don't feel comfortable, if you want to pay a little bit more, you have that insurance policy in your back pocket. So there's some, like I say, you've got to ask all the questions. But
Those would be questions that growers should ask their dealer when they're making their herbicide purchasing decisions.
Joe, how does, say a dealer is listening to this podcast and they want to find your products or work within maybe their current retailer and find interline?
So our main focus is helping growers achieve lower cost solutions by providing the products to their local dealer. We're in Iowa. We can't be everywhere that Mershman sells soybeans or everywhere that farmers farm. So we set up relationships with the dealers in the area, and they're the ones that will put a grower's products onto the John Deere financial platform. They will be the ones that will warehouse the product and deliver it to them. So just if a grower wants to have a post-patent lower cost opportunity, just have them contact one of our staff at Quality Ag, qualityag.com, or you can Google it on the internet.
sure. So in other words, you're working with a lot of retailers across the United States to provide them product so that they can provide it to their local customers.
That's right, and Quality Ag's unbound by loyalty agreements that some companies have. Our loyalty is the same as Mershman's loyalty. We're a family company, and our loyalty is to our customers, not to our vendors. And you guys have done a fabulous job, multi-generational job of providing seed to family farms from a family seed company. And it's enviable. You look around, there's not a lot of companies that have the success that Mershman's has had, and it's a proud thing for Quality Ag to be affiliated with a company like Mershman's.
At the end of the day, we are responsible to our customers, your business and our business, and we don't necessarily have to go through a Wall Street connection, because we've seen some of the decisions that some of these big companies make, and we're scratching our head and saying, well, where's the farmer in this decision? It appears that there's other priorities, and that's okay. But when you're buying a product, you can decide who's the most important. If somebody emails me just about 24/7, my wife will tell you that I pretty much answer it. Sometimes she doesn't like it, but Turk's the same way. But we know that at the end of the day, we answer to our customers, and when they have needs, we got to respond to them. I've heard the story that the big chemical companies, the salespeople make a pact, say after 4 o'clock on Friday, don't answer your emails, because that sets a bad precedent. And I'm just scratching my head, and I said that's when a lot of farmers go to work, because they maybe work a job in town, and then plus the weekends
Right.
are when they've got to get it done. So it takes all kinds, but we do appreciate, Joe, being able to work with you and let people know about your company, which is offering a lot of good alternative options and to compare, and so that, again, to make a good informed decision. And at the end of the day, we want to raise the most bushels for the lowest cost, and that's the only way farmers will survive.
Yeah, and I really think that 2020, I like the trends that we're seeing both in prices for our output, we got so low that it would hard to be lower, but the trend is what it is. But in chemistries, I think most guys are going to be pleased when they go to their dealer if they have any type of a hybrid blend of a post-patent and branded product offering. They should see a lower cost herbicide and insecticide offering in 2020 than 2019. And the other thing that's very exciting is phosphate fertilizer is as low as it's been in a generation.
Yeah, that's what my brother Henry was saying. The phosphate companies are bleeding red big time because of the fact that they're actually selling it below the cost of pulling it out of the ground. So, that's right now some positive things are happening for the farmer, and definitely if your land needs phosphate, now it's time to buy it because you're not going to buy it any cheaper.
I don't think it'll ever be as cheap as it is right now because the plants are shutting down production because they can't make any money. So that'll eventually lead to a shortage. We live in a cyclical world.
Right.
Just when you think things are so bad that they'll never be good again, you'll wait a few years and they'll be so good you can't remember that it was ever bad.
That's right. So are there any shortages right now in the herbicide and insecticide world? In other words, anything that you say, hey, if you're going to put your hands around something, you better grab this stuff because supply is a little bit tighter than normal?
One of the nice things about shortages in crop protection is there are alternatives to any shortage. But there are going to be rationing allocations of metribuzin. If you guys remember the old Sinclair,
Yep.
That's a product that was dead for 15 years. Nobody wanted it because you didn't need anything but Roundup. Now, metribuzin is an important part of a lot of weed control programs. So if you're looking for straight metribuzin, it might be difficult to find it, but it will be available in pre-mixtures. So like UPL has a straight metribuzin product called Metricor. Probably going to be unavailable for 2020, but they've got that molecule in with their S-metolachlor that is going to be readily available.
Okay.
And that'd be with that glufosinate, that Intermock blend?
Actually, Intermock is the active ingredient in Dual
There you go.
added to glufosinate.
Okay.
The metribuzin, you don't want to spray it post-emerge onto soybeans, but pre-emerge,
Gotcha.
it's a very good product. There's a pre-emerge package with both metolachlor and pendimethalin that's available from UPL. They'll have metribuzin in it.
So if there's a shortage, there's other options.
That's right. So in other words, you
go to sulfentrazone or you go to flumioxazin or you can wind up with a pendimethalin solution. They all work on the weeds. It's just a little bit different of
Taste and water?
That's right. Well, that might be the difference between Mountain Dew and Coca-Cola.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
They'll both quench your thirst. They got the sugar in them, but
Sure.
they have a much different taste.
Sure, I understand.
So is there any timing issues that we should be worried about right now? In other words, you're in the distribution business too. I mean, what do is time and money interchangeable when it comes to herbicides? It is with seed. We always sell seed. The earlier you can decide, the lower you pay, and if you wait till spring, you're going to pay a higher price. What about that?
Well, our Black Friday special for crop protection is you have a qualifying purchase of Mershman brand soybeans. We're going to give you the option to have a 0% financing on your crop protection chemicals. And if your dealer doesn't have that portal opened up on his John Deere financial tool, he just needs to call Quality Ag and we'll open it up for him. So we've got that exciting thing going.
How long are you having the financing option open for?
So we've got 0% until the end of the year. So purchases by the end of the year, put on to John Deere Financial by the 10th of January. And then after the first of the year, we've got a secondary program that runs until the end of June. And that'll be growers can finance at a 4.9 fixed rate throughout the rest of the season.
Okay, good.
So 0% till the end of the year, 4.9% after that. And got to thank the fine folks at John Deere Financial for helping
Absolutely.
set all of this up. They were very, very understanding that growers need these financing options besides what it has been available traditionally through the branded products from the research-based companies.
And
Absolutely.
we're very similar to your program. We just announced the 0% financing, same as Cash 2, and that goes till January 15th. So farmers who take advantage of that can basically dovetail to the major crop inputs that they have to plant with.
And then after January 15th, it goes to 2%, correct?
Yeah, it goes basically up the
ladder.
scale.
Yep.
Every month it goes up a little bit. So in general, really the next 30 days, farmers need to move, particularly if they want to take advantage of some of these programs. And I know they're still fighting crop out, and the winds that we just recently had across the Midwest are probably not going to be very positive for getting that crop out. But it's been a year to remember, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
So anything else to add?
Well, I really enjoyed my Thanksgiving dinner, but I will say this. My mother-in-law put a great spread out there. It had a lot of options on there. She had roast beef, she had turkey. There was dressing with oysters, dressing without oysters. Ooh. So I want to thank my mother-in-law, Sandy Wilson, for the fabulous meal for Thanksgiving Day. And I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving as well. And we've got a lot of choices for crop protection.
Absolutely.
As well. So it's a pretty good Black Friday.
Absolutely, and thanks to the American farmer, we can have that big spread. And we got a lot of choices on food too, just like we do on our seed and herbicides. Anyhow, hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. We look forward to working with you in the next 30 days to get your seed on order and get your herbicides ready and take advantage of all the Black Friday specials and make 2020 a much better year than 2019. See you next week.